Sports, balls, plays, festivities, pomps are not in themselves evil, but rather indifferent matters capable of being used for good or ill. But nevertheless they are dangerous, and it is still more dangerous to take great delight in them. Therefore, my daughter, I say that although it is lawful to amuse yourself, to dance, dress, feast, and see seemly plays, at the same time, if you are much addicted to these things, they will hinder your devotion and become extremely hurtful and dangerous to you. The harm lies not in doing them, but in the degree to which you care for them. It is a pity to sow the seed of vain and foolish tastes in the soil of your heart, taking up the place of better things, and hindering the soul from cultivating good dispositions. It was thus that the Nazarites of old abstained not merely from all intoxicating liquors, but from grapes fresh or dried, and from vinegar, not because these were intoxicating, but because they might excite the desire for fermented liquors. Just so, while I do not forbid the use of these dangerous pleasures, I say that you cannot take an excessive delight in them without their telling upon your devotion. When the stag has waxed fat, he hides himself amid the thicket, conscious that his fleetness is impaired should he be in need to fly. And so the human heart, which is cumbered with useless, superfluous, dangerous clingings, becomes incapacitated for that earnest following after God which is the true life of devotion. No one blames children for running after butterflies, because they are children. But is it not ridiculous and pitiful to see full-grown men eager about such worthless trifles as the worldly amusements before named, which are likely to throw them off their balance and disturb their spiritual life? Therefore, dear child, I would have you cleanse your heart from all such tastes, remembering that while the acts themselves are not necessarily incompatible with a devout life, all delight in them must be harmful. Furthermore, my daughter, we have certain natural inclinations which are not strictly speaking either mortal or venial sins, but rather imperfections, and the acts in which they take shape, failings and deficiencies. Thus, St. Jerome says that St. Paula had so strong a tendency to excessive sorrow that when she lost her husband and children she nearly died of grief. That was not a sin, but an imperfection, since it did not depend upon her wish and will. Some people are naturally easy, some oppositions. Some are indisposed to accept other men's opinions, some naturally disposed to be cross, some to be affectionate. In short, there is hardly anyone in whom some such imperfections do not exist. Now, although they be natural and instinctive in each person, they may be remedied and corrected, or even eradicated, by cultivating the reverse disposition. And this, my child, must be done. Gardeners have found how to make the bitter almond tree bear sweet fruit, by grafting the juice of the latter upon it. Why should we not purge out our perverse dispositions and infuse such as are good? There is no disposition so good, but it may be made bad by dint of vicious habits, and neither is there any natural disposition so perverse, but that it may be conquered and overcome by God's grace primarily, and then by our earnest, diligent endeavour. I shall therefore now proceed to give you counsels and suggest practices by which you may purify your soul from all dangerous affections and imperfections, and from all tendencies to venial sin, thereby strengthening yourself more and more against mortal sin. May God give you grace to use them.